more and more labels don't put out things on vinyl, so you're working with a much smaller canvas, so to speak, the CDs, um, and it's just another outlet for art and music to work together.
We're primarily a photographic gallery. We did about 3 years ago. We did a big rock and roll poster show, and I thought to complement the show, I'd bring some of my own collection of posters out, and kind of hung them in various places in the gallery. And it was the posters that got an incredible buzz because nobody had seen them before, and I kind of thought this is really interesting. You know, everyone was commenting on the posters, how great they were and how you couldn't get them anymore, and there's no scene anymore for the posters. So you know, I thought this is interesting. I'll investigate it. The 60s scene was psychedelic, as you say. It was so all the posters really based on that psychedelic theme, if you like. Today, the artists really have carte blanche to do whatever they want with the poster. So each individual artist, and we represent about 16 different ones, and every one of them has their own specific style. There's an odd one that turns up with a psychedelic influence, but they've all got their own styles, their own way of lettering, and their own figures that reappear in each of the posters. It's a much bigger scene now than it was then. Much bigger scene. Because in the 60s there was maybe five or six poster artists. That's all. There was Rick Griffin, Mouse and Kelly, Vic Moscoso. Maybe one or two more. The lower floor of the gallery was photographed until we started the posters in a small way, just a couple of browsers and things. But now, as you can see, we've got all the walls and all the browsers full with posters, and people are buying posters now, not just for the band. It used to be just the bands that they liked, they'd buy a poster, but now people come in liking the artwork and buying the poster because they like the artwork as well. And then people see a certain artist they like, and then they want to buy all the posters by that artist. And the posters, short run, some of them as low as 50 and go up to 150, 200. So they're only small runs, so they become very collectible because a lot of them sell out very, very quickly. The bands are now actively looking for the artists to do their artwork, and they're commissioning the artists to do posters for a whole tour, and then they can take those posters on tour with them, sell them at the shows, and then the artists will still have a few to sell, and the band will get their own. Whereas in most cases today, it's the venues that authorise the posters. I think it's moving away from that, and the artists are going to want to have control over it. So they'll commission the artists and have a lot more say in it. Well, the venues, they still don't get it in the UK. They still don't understand it. So there are a few, and there are a few that are coming onto us now wanting to do it. But in the main, they're still very wary of receiving posters from artists where they don't have to pay anything for them. And they just don't get it.
My first job was with an Indian rock music magazine called the Rock Street Journal. It all started there.
I did a flyer for my band in high school, then did some more for another band, and more, and more, and more, ad nauseum.
I started doing posters for my friends' shows about 4 years ago. It seemed like more fun than working 9 to 5.
I'd always wanted to be a comic artist, really. But when I came to uni, I ended up getting involved in the rock scene in Glasgow, and I started doing kind of designs for friends who were in bands, and it all kind of went from there.
There was no other way. It was either we made posters ourselves or they didn't get made. From there, other people all around the country then asked me to do work for them, which works out for me fine. It gives me a hobby.
I use them, so I can't say it's a bad thing. I mean, everything has its negatives. Some posters look too computer generated. Sometimes that's what the people want. I mean, my early posters, Christ, I threw those things together. I mean, I'd scribble the illustration down in a notebook while watching TV, clean it up a little bit, color it, throw some type around it. There's my flyer. It was quick. I liked the look of it. I'm not trying to win any awards, so at that time I wasn't. Now I definitely am, so keep that in mind, everybody. But, at that time, hell, and it was quick. I could print out 50 color flyers, for the club to use, in minutes, as opposed to screen printing and such. So that's kind of why I went that way.
I hate computers, they're just a tool. I don't think that anything can replace a natural ability and a love of drawing.
Damn good thing. Because of email, I've been able to design posters for venues from Japan to Scotland and all honky-tonks in between. I can experiment with different layout variations in minutes that before would have taken days. On the negative side, a lot of starting artists fall into the trap of the Photoshop filter flavor of the month club. They let the computer do the work without understanding the basics of composition. A lot of messy car wrecks along the gig poster highway.
I live by it. I use it as a tool and it works for me. All my artwork is finally put together on the computer, if not created completely on it in the first place.
Well, ironically, being a robot, I am actually scared of computers. Hence the reason I'm just using some brushes and pens. So, personally, for me, not a great deal. Although the scanner is a huge leap forward. It saves me photocopying so much.
I think the use of computers is a good thing. I see it as just another medium that you can use to get different effects. They can be a bad thing because people tend to get really obsessed with creating everything in Photoshop, of course, but if they're used properly and in the right context, I don't see a problem with art at all, with using computers in art at all.
Growth in the poster scene is simply that people want to see art, and art for bands gives an abstract representation for fans, gives them that mystique, and with the smaller packaging of CDs or even no packaging with MP3s, it's getting harder to see the art. So posters give that back to the fans.
Eventually our fat, derelict asses will be replaced by the next generation of young artists, but their art will suck. Until then, I'm just enjoying the ride.
Strictly speaking about India, it's not a new concept but not something that features on the priority list of all gigs. But I can guarantee you that it'll very soon be on that list.
I think in the UK, I think there's a burgeoning scene going on, and I can only see that growing. There's venues and things like like Nottingham Rock City who started commissioning artists to do posters for them, which hopefully more venues will catch on, and it will grow and grow and grow, and be shot into the centre of the sun.
People love rock art. I do. Fans of rock music, anyway. It's pop culture. Everybody loves that stuff.
Just like everything else, it'll end up getting saturated and claimed by the popular media, just like skateboarding and punk rock. People are generally more media savvy these days, so I think the good poster art will still float to the surface.
It's all about the image, baby. More exactly, the image that is going to attract people to get their asses to a show. From the masturbating bunny to a pretty pink petunia, whatever it takes to fill the venue.
I guess that's it as far as the interview is concerned. I think that was all the questions.
Try harder to convince